Hello, this is V News Broadcast Daily, and following are the headlines.
Israeli President Shimon Peres began official visit to Vietnam. French development agency finances urban development investment funds. Czech businesses step up investment in Vietnam. Vietnam is expected to halve the number of tuberculosis patients by 2015.
Israeli President Shimon Peres began his official visit to Vietnam on November 23rd at the invitation of his Vietnamese counterpart, Truyền.
An official welcome ceremony for the Israeli president took place at the presidential palace on the same day. This is the highest-level visit by an Israeli leader to Vietnam since the two countries set up diplomatic ties in 1993. Vietnam and Israel are speeding up the establishment of an intergovernmental committee with the aim of boosting comprehensive ties between the two countries. Two-way trade between Vietnam and Israel exceeded $220 million in 2010, representing a 34% over 2008. Following the welcome ceremony, President Truyền held talks with Israeli President Shimon Peres. Sang applauded the Israeli president's visit, saying it will help bring bilateral ties to a new height. Sang affirmed Vietnam's foreign policy of boosting multilateralization and diversification of relations to raise the country's position in foreign relations with Arabian countries and Israel. He expressed a wish to strengthen multifaceted cooperation with Israel, especially in science and technology, labor, tourism, and defense technology. President Shimon said he is pleased to visit Vietnam in the context of recent positive developments in bilateral ties. After the talks, the two leaders witnessed the signing of a maritime transport agreement and amendments to the Protocol on Financial Cooperation between Vietnam and Israel.
On the same day, Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng and Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng received Israeli President Shimon Peres.
At the meeting with Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng, President Shimon Peres expressed his delight at visiting Vietnam for the first time and witnessing the great achievements Vietnamese people have recorded in the renewal process. He informed his host of Israel's situation and expressed his hope to further promote cooperation between the two countries in different areas, especially in science, technology, agriculture, education, and training. Shimon Peres' views were shared by General Secretary Trọng. The party leader said he believed that the Israeli president's visit would contribute to further enhancing cooperation in economic, trade and investment, science and technology. While meeting with President Shimon Peres, Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng spoke highly of the outcomes of the talks between the Israeli president and his Vietnamese counterpart Truyền. Prime Minister Dũng suggested the two countries effectively implement agreements inked during the visit by Shimon Peres and soon establish the Committee for Economic, Trade, Scientific and Technological Cooperation in 2011. President Shimon Peres said Israel is ready to cooperate with Vietnam in areas that are of the two countries' strengths for the interest of the two peoples.
The French Development Agency will provide 20.5 million euros to urban development investment funds of Da Nang and Cần cities of Vietnam.
Agreements to these effects were signed in Paris on November 22nd within the framework of the France-Vietnam High-Level Council for Economic Cooperation Development, which is being held in Paris from November 21st to 25th. Of the sum, €500,000 will be non-refundable aid from the French government. The finance aims to help the two Vietnamese cities implement socio-economic development goals and cope with challenges rising from urban development, as well as carry out measures to fight climate change.
Vietnamese and Czech businesses gathered in Hanoi on November 23rd to seek opportunities and promote trade and investment cooperation.
Czech businesses said they want to cooperate with Vietnamese partners in pipeline production, technology, machinery for mining and oil processing, waste treatment, and banking and financial services. The Czech Republic now has 21 investment projects totaling $56 million in Vietnam. Vietnam has invested in 4 projects in the European country with a total investment capital of $5.3 million. Two-way trade between Vietnam and the Czech Republic exceeded $205 million in 2010. Vietnam serves as a bridge for Czech goods to ASEAN markets, while the Czech Republic acts as a gateway for Vietnamese commodities to enter the EU market.
On November 22nd, Air Mekong announced a new route linking the provincial capitals of Gia Lai and Nghệ An provinces.
The plate cruising air route will officially open on December the 1st with 3 flights per week on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The route is the second linking the northern central region and the Central Highlands. It is the 4th to Gia Lai province after the services from Hanoi, Da Nang, and Ho Chi Minh City. Once operational, the air route will help meet people's travel demands, promote local tourism, and boost economic exchanges between the northern central region and Central Highlands.
Vietnam is expected to increase its paper and pulp production capacity by more than 2 million tons and 700,000 tons, respectively, between now and 2015.
The targets are set in a draft plan on paper industry and development released by the Ministry of Industry and Trade on November the 22nd. According to the plan, in the 2020-2025 period, paper and pulp production capacity will increase by nearly 4 million tons and 1 million tons respectively. The paper industry is set to meet between 74 to 80% of the domestic demand by 2025. To realize these targets, the industry will build materials input areas to ensure a stable and sufficient supply for paper production. These goals are expected to help Vietnam save $200 million from pulp imports each year.
The Lao-Vietnam Joint Venture Bank opened its branch in Attapeu province in southern Laos on November 22nd. On the occasion, the Standing Committee of the Association of Vietnamese Investors in Laos made debut.
Speaking at the opening ceremony, Lao Deputy Prime Minister Somsavat Lengsavat affirmed support for investment plans of the Association of Vietnamese Investors in Laos. He said Vietnamese businesses' investment activities have not only brought about economic benefits but also made practical contributions to Laos' development, especially in poverty reduction. Vietnamese Deputy Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc expressed his belief that the bank branch will receive effective operations in Laos, helping further promote the special relationship between Vietnam and Laos in general and between Attapeu and Vietnamese localities in particular. On the occasion, the Bank for Investment and Development of Vietnam presented 300 computers and $50,000 to Attapeu province.
Asia-Pacific nations have discussed measures against the risk of proliferations of weapons of mass destruction at a time when the demand for nuclear power for peaceful purposes is increasing.
At the 8th General Assembly of the Council for Security Cooperation in Asia-Pacific, which concluded in Hanoi on November the 22nd, the participants also talked about measures to ensure maritime security, including building a code of conduct in the region. The two-day conference evaluated the impacts of new developments of the region's security structure on stability in the Asia-Pacific region. Established in 1993, the Council is a semi-official security organization with 21 members, including Vietnam.
Vietnam is expected to halve the number of tuberculosis patients by 2015 towards a goal of eliminating the disease in 2030.
This is an overall objective of a national tuberculosis prevention program announced at a seminar in Ho Chi Minh City on November the 22nd. Information released at the event showed that nearly half of health officials in tuberculosis prevention program are untrained and people traditionally treat the disease by themselves. Vietnam is one of the countries suffering enormous tuberculosis burdens with 180,000 new cases and 32,000 fatalities due to the disease every year. The seminar was jointly held by the Central Lung Hospital, the Vietnam Tuberculosis Prevention Program, and the World Health Organization.
And that comes to the end of the news today. Thanks for watching and see you next time.